everybody. Welcome to another episode of Voices of Recovery. I'm your host, Michele Eich, and every week I interview people who have overcome a life-controlling issue with God's help. And this week I am interviewing my guest, Francine. Francine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me. I'm really honored and pleased to be here.
It's great to see you again. And Francine, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I love to. Just want to say hello to everyone. My name again is Francine Jackson, and born and raised in Chicago. Just loving everything about my life now and the changes that I've been experiencing in my life. And um, born and raised in a family of five brothers and sisters, a lot of nieces and nephews, and love summer. I just love summer, and currently working here at the Salvation Army as administrative assistant, and just enjoying life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. So, what we're going to be talking about this week is food addiction. So, every week I talk to different people about a life controlling issue, and it doesn't have to be a substance, it can be addiction to a person, a bad habit. And this week we're talking about food addiction. And Francine has an incredible journey. She has a powerful story to tell. And for many of you, you know that I am going to be releasing my book this summer. It's called How to Kill an Addiction. It'll be out later this summer, but I have gathered testimonies from people who have overcome a life controlling issue with God's help, and Francine has contributed to my book. So I was rereading your story, Francine, and I just love what God has done. So let's kind of help the listeners understand kind of where you came from.
Okay.
You said that whether you were happy, sad, mad, you fed your emotions.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I think that without even realize it, somewhere in my life, I just started to feed my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
When I would feel anxious, when I would feel bored, when I would feel alone, afraid, whatever it was, I ran to food without even knowing. So it just became a habit in my life. Sometimes it was just snacking or, going to the store to pick up something, but it just became a part of my life. I don't even know when it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that applies to a lot of people. So I'm excited that your testimony is going to help others. But you mentioned that overeating temporarily relieves emotional pain, but it leaves us worse than before. So it might be a quick fix, but you're really not any better off, right?
Right. You just get this temporary pleasure of satisfaction,
Sure.
and you're looking for the comfort in the food as
Hmm.
anything,
Right.
something just to take you away from whatever you're experiencing. But it's
Okay.
very temporary, it doesn't last for long. And before you know it, I was just gaining weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your testimony, Francine, that you would hide emotional eating. So
Mhm.
it sounds like you were just kind of eating throughout the day, maybe sneaking food. You said you had it in your desk and things like that, just kind of always available.
Yeah, I just found myself, for instance, maybe I would go on break and have snacks and everything with everyone else. But then when I went back to my office, somehow wound up back into the break room, having some more
Right.
snacks
Hmm.
or things I placed in my desk so that I can get later, or having things at home, having things in my car. And
Right.
so, especially on the ride home, it was usually an hour there, an hour to work and back. And so I just had all this time by myself that I could just put it in my mouth without
Right.
even being aware of what was happening.
Sure. And our society
Yeah.
makes it really easy because there's a fast food
Yeah.
on every corner. I mean,
Yeah.
so it makes it very convenient just to drive through and grab something.
Exactly.
Okay. One of the things that you mentioned, and I want to quote you here, you said, I learned to internalize my emotions while feeding them with food and practicing the habits of a secret addict. Secret
Mhm.
addict, those are kind of strong words, but you kind of at one point realized that it was a problem for you.
Yeah. Many times I would have a full day of work or maybe it was just a full day of an event or whatever was happening in my life. And usually I would go home and probably I'm alone, or if I stopped somewhere and had dinner, I was alone. And so I found myself just thinking about the day, thinking about the problems that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize how I sat there and I just ate and
Mm-hmm.
thought, ate and meditated on the food. And so it wasn't until farther down in my life when I really began to feel not so well.
Mm-hmm.
I started having some physical problems and things like that, that I began to learn that I had these habits
Mm.
that I did in secret, or
Sure.
just, acknowledging that that was what was happening in my life.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
I think that happens with a lot of things we experience in life. We go along doing it, and then it kind of catches up with us a little bit, and we're like, whoa, we get a little bit of a wake up call, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I was just reading an article today. I happened to come across an article that said that sugar is as addictive as some street drugs and has similar effects on the brain. So, I mean, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, it is because it's so available. I
Right.
mean, it's everywhere. And so, and not only the sugar, but highly refined processed food.
Mm,
And so, sugar, yes, it has the ability, it's been proven that it lights up the brain just like cocaine.
wow.
And so, when it lights up the brain, it releases this dopamine,
Hmm.
and you just crave it. You want it more.
Right.
And the more you crave it and the more you have it,
Hmm.
uh, the dopamine is released slowly. So you're
Okay.
not getting that same feeling.
Mm,
So
hmm.
that means you have to eat more of it to get the same
Right.
feeling again, right?
Okay.
So
Sure.
yeah, it works the same way. Yeah. And so I knew that when I learned that, I knew that I would never go to a party with the intentions of doing cocaine. Never.
Right.
But I went to parties with the intention of having the cake, the ice cream, the
Yeah.
chips, the everything that went with it. That was my plan. I'm going to this
Right.
party, gonna have a good time, gonna eat what's there, and
Yeah.
didn't even think about it of being as an addiction or something that was controlling my life.
Yeah. That's so true. Not only is it readily available, but it is socially acceptable.
Exactly.
And so everybody, it when you have a celebration, there's food, there's sugar,
Right.
the treats that we
The
all love.
treats.
But like you said, you need more and more to get that same feeling. That's really
Right.
interesting. I'm
And
glad
no
that you
one's
mentioned
gonna,
that.
I'm
Pardon me?
sorry. And no one's gonna really say, Francine, you're really having too much of that.
Right.
Or Francine, I really see you're gaining weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Um, we're kind of still in that quarantine mode, and
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that you would eat when you were bored, or you would eat when you were happy or sad, a lot of different emotions. But I was just thinking when I read that a lot of people are kind of battling that COVID-15, where they've
Yeah.
gained that extra weight, they're bored, maybe they're eating because of anxiety or whatever reason. So
Mhm.
it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
okay. You mentioned that food consumed your life and you couldn't see it, but as you mentioned earlier, it was taking a toll. Um, and you said that one day you were at a meeting, you were at work, and you just kind of
Mhm.
broke down. You
Yeah.
weren't feeling good, and a coworker prayed for you, and it was as if God was speaking and saying, Francine, you need to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Because I know
Yeah.
I know you, and I know you're the type of person who is very conscientious about other people,
Mhm.
taking care of other people and ministering to other people.
Yeah.
And I can see where you would neglect yourself in that process, and
Exactly.
God was bringing that to your attention.
Yeah. He was. And being in ministry and like you said, you're always putting other people before you.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see it that way because I always thought of it as being, if I'm putting myself before others, then I'm being selfish.
Okay.
So one morning, just like any other morning, we were getting ready to come into work, and we usually met every Monday morning, and I was just exhausted.
Mm,
And I just felt just the heavy weight of everything at that moment.
mm-hmm.
And I remember going into the meeting, and we were talking about what the day was going to be like, the meeting, getting ready for the students to come in. And I just felt just overwhelmed, and I just began to cry.
Mm,
And they were praying, and it was like he just had a word for me. And I knew that what he was saying to me, because it's like, my life was going in and coming out, going
mm,
in and coming out. And so I didn't feel like I ever had a chance to stop and really think about what I was doing and what was happening in my life.
right.
But I knew that I had been praying, help me with this weight, help me be able to just manage from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Help me. I was struggling just to get through a day because I was so exhausted. I was tired, so fatigued, experienced so much brain fog. There's so
Mm,
many things like that were going on with me, and I knew it
right.
had to do with my health.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. I had been doing some things, but I just was not having any success in anything. So it was
Okay.
really about how I was feeling physically more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your physical well-being can affect how you're feeling emotionally too.
Yeah.
And so,
Emotionally.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really interesting. I like what you said about how we just kind of go through our lives and we just go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and we
Mhm.
don't take time to connect with God. I mean, if you look at the way our society is,
Yeah.
versus maybe how it was 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, and how our lives have changed, or we're on a very fast pace, and how our eating habits have changed. Fast
Mhm.
food wasn't available, processed foods weren't available 1,000 years ago, so
Yeah.
it's just like things are just so different. And
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people are able to relate to how you were, just go, 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 and just feeling that exhausting, you know, drained
Yeah.
feeling. And it's in, a lot of us are in that boat for one reason or another. And it's a result of our crazy lives that we live. So I love that you were kind of secretly praying about this. And so then somebody had a word for you. And I just believe that we know that God hears the cries of our heart, right?
Yeah.
He does. And you mentioned that you really didn't know what to do. Like at one point, we need to recognize that there is a problem, but then we're like, okay, now what do we do about it?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and like many people, you mentioned that you've tried other things. But as you were driving home from work, you heard on Christian radio about a book that talked about breaking the stronghold of food over your life. And, I just love that. It's like, I'm sure you were praying, okay, God, now what? And boom,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
He's just so good. So tell us a little bit about the book and kind of how that was a beginning of change for you.
Well, it was really a wake-up call
Mm.
at that moment. I had never thought of myself as being an addict
Mm.
uh,
Wow.
to food. And so here I am, just my daily routine home, I guess decompressing on my way home. I
Hmm.
haven't had time. I don't cook anyway, so I didn't cook at that time. So what do I have for dinner? So, hey, drive through. I'm there chowing on what I've ordered. I mean, just putting it in, and here comes on the radio this
Wow.
man talking about, Michael Brown talking about the book
Mm.
that he had written. And not only that, that he had experienced being a food addict and how he and his wife changed their lives. And so it was at that moment, listen to the interview, that I realized I was a food addict.
Wow.
And I still finished eating what I
Well,
ordered.
yeah.
Wasn't going to let it go to waste. But
Right.
even at that time, I remember very clearly that even as I was eating, my stomach was in pain.
Mm.
I was in pain because I was experiencing a lot of acid reflux,
Right.
and I could feel the pain now, even as I talk about it. And I was still
Wow.
just putting it in.
Yeah.
And I got home, I downloaded the book, and I started to read the book. And
Okay.
probably the first time in my life, I accepted that I was a food addict. Yeah, and
Wow.
so the book really changed me, put me on another course. It just really changed my mind, the way I was thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Michelle, I know that we know the importance of renewing our word and our mind in the Word of God. We know the
Right.
importance of that.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that God was teaching me, I'm going to teach you how to renew your mind in every area of your life.
Wow.
And I'm going to
I love
use
that.
other things and other people to help you do that. And so
Wow.
this was one way of God just really showing me and
Yeah.
teaching me and making me become aware and
Mm.
just really getting me ready for what was going to come so that I would say yes. It took me a long
Yeah.
time to say yes to the program, but
Right.
eventually I did. Yeah.
Okay. So you realize that you're a food addict. What was your number one emotion when you when that light bulb went off? I mean, how did you feel when you realized that?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I don't really remember how I felt. Maybe I was shocked.
Mm.
Maybe I just had to still myself for just a moment and think, really? Is this what I'm really doing?
Yeah.
Um, just really sort of like taking it in and
Mm-hmm.
having to process it emotionally and just say, I have to accept this is what's happening. You know, God is
Right.
showing me this.
Yeah.
And not to go into that denials, and just
Mm-hmm.
say, no, that's not me.
Right.
But yeah, I had to say probably I was shocked. I was moved in my heart because I just
Mm-hmm.
had a knowing it was him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
You know, when God reveals something to us, he just
Hmm.
does it in such a way. And he knows how we're all wired differently.
Right.
So some of us might need just a gentle whisper, and some of us might need a little kick in the pants, and some of us might need a hug, and some of us might need all of the above. But he's so good at revealing things to us. It's not
Right.
in a condemning or judging way,
Hmm.
um, but when he brings something to our attention, not only is he doing that, but he's also saying, "I'm on board to help you with this."
Right.
And that's just the beauty of our relationship with God, that he doesn't say, now you go do this and this and this. He's like, he's in the trenches with you all the
Yeah.
way and providing the answer. I just love that.
Yeah, and I often
Powerful.
feel so humbled by it.
Yeah,
I feel so humbled. Of course, it brings tears to my eyes because you just know
yeah,
he loves you,
right.
and then perhaps there's some fear because you have to face it.
Yeah,
You're getting ready to face something that, you haven't, and you've been
right.
hiding and you've been keeping a
Mm,
secret, and now you have to face this. You're going to
sure.
get through this. Yeah.
And that
So,
that could apply to so many different things, so many
so
different
many.
life controlling issues, whether it's food, substance, relationships.
Mhm.
So it's the same God helping us through every situation. And when he
Everything.
brings
Yeah.
it to your attention, and it sounds like, at this point you were ready,
Yeah, I
you know.
was ready.
Um, so it's like I like the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. They were
Yes.
kind of ready, and here he is with the answer. So you mentioned to me earlier that the name of the book is Breaking the Stronghold of Food by Michael L. Brown. And I
Yes.
will post that with a link to
Okay.
purchase the book so that if any of our guests would like to get that, I know that it was very helpful for you and could maybe be helpful for somebody else as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I enjoyed the part in the book where Michael Brown said he went into the store and he just wanted a piece of chocolate. And he had to make a choice. He left out of that store on his way to teach class, boo-hooing and crying because he could not have that piece of chocolate.
That is so good. And was he
That's
teaching
ignition.
was he going to teach a class on making good food choices?
No,
Have you heard that?
he actually is a biblical Bible teacher
Oh, okay.
at a Bible
Awesome.
school. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Okay, so you said that by God's grace, it began to break the stronghold of food over your life,
Hmm.
and you began a new health journey a little over 2 years ago in March of 2018.
Hmm.
And you mentioned the four components of this health journey. You said that you got a health coach, you had an education system, an amazing community to support you, and then meal replacements. Can you tell us about those four components and why each of them is so important?
Yeah, I think that's one of the amazing things about the program is that I could have a health coach and to have that one-on-one person that would call me every week,
Mm,
support me, encourage me, hold me accountable. So I think, everyone needs someone to coach them, through
right.
things when they're going through and having that person with them, knowing that they're not alone.
Mm,
The educational component, like I said before, we can renew our mind in the Word of God, but it's very important that we renew our minds concerning food
mm,
and change our mindset because
mhm.
I believe that 80% of the program is mindset
Okay.
and 20% is the food. So we want to create health. We definitely have to change our mindsets. And so there's an educational component that comes with that from the founder, actually, two nice books to read. And we also have an amazing community where we meet every Wednesday. We have teachings, Zoom, such as this, Zoom teachings,
Right.
live teachings, as well as a Facebook community where we can connect and share our stories and share our tears and our victories, or ask questions and post recipes and just celebrate one another. So
Right.
that's what the community is about because we need one another. You have
Yes,
people who are like minded on the same journey,
absolutely.
connecting and supporting one another. So that's the third component of the program. And then the fourth component is simply our meal replacements, which are all nutritionally based. They have all the vitamins, the minerals, and everything that you need in them. And what they do is they're just a tool that provides a way for us to get what we need to fuel our bodies
Mm-hmm.
and not how to really work it out and
Mm-hmm.
find a way to make that happen. Because if you're in a phase of weight loss, the challenge is to go and choose the foods you need,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're eating the right portions, and then make sure you're getting enough of everything you need. And so all of this is already uh, packaged for you. It comes in
Okay.
different assortments like bars and everything, but it's just part of our nutritional plan. And we just simply eat 6 meals a day,
Okay.
6 small meals a day.
Hmm.
And so, and you eat every 2.5 to 3 hours
Okay.
and drink plenty of water.
Right.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So a food addiction is obviously going to be different than other addictions because if you have an addiction to, you mentioned cocaine earlier, so I'll just use that as an example. You are not using cocaine, period. Like you're
Mhm.
done with that. But with food, you can't just cold turkey. You still have to eat to survive. So it sounds
Right.
like you have to learn new ways, and obviously you're not able to make the same choices. You're not still going through the drive-through and getting a
Mm-mm.
number three supersized or whatever.
Right.
But you're making different choices, and then the mindset is to fuel your body, not just eating for comfort or the emotional eating that you were doing before. Is that
Yeah, and I love to share with my customers, and what I've learned for myself is that it is not a fad or diet.
mm,
It's a lifestyle change.
okay,
It's a lifestyle. So all of our life, we're going to have to make the choice of what we put into our bodies.
right.
And so either we're choosing life or death, even in food.
Mm, Mm.
We're choosing life or death. And
Wow.
so through the program, you learn to choose what's going to fuel your body. And when you start to feel so much better and you begin to have energy,
Mm-hmm.
which happened to me, I hadn't had energy in so long that I forgot what
Wow.
energy felt like.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. And so when it started happening in my body, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so I was feeling like I wanted to move,
Mm-hmm.
and just feeling good. But when you start to feel so good
Mm-hmm.
in your body and you're enjoying a different lifestyle, that when you eat something that is not fueling your body or giving your body what it's need, like some sugar or anything,
Mm-hmm.
it just really does something different to your body. You can feel the difference
Okay.
immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, you're just learning to make different choices. And so part of the plan also is that you learn to create a healthy meal and what that
Okay.
meal looks like. So that meal is a healthy lean and a healthy servings of vegetables. And so you learn to prepare one of those meals every day of your life
Okay.
during the program. And so it just becomes an automatic thing where you know how to go. You start to begin to learn how to shop for what you need,
Right.
making healthy choices in the grocery store so that all that
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy stuff doesn't come back home with you.
Right.
Yeah. So you just
That's
shopping in
good.
the vegetable area and then you go to the meats and then you're
Right.
done. You're
Yeah.
out of there. Right.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
good.
So you just learn how to make healthy choices. And I remember one time when I was talking to my coach and I was like, I'm having to really make all these choices all the time. I'm having to choose whether I eat that or I don't. And I'm just getting tired. It's just too much effort. Right? That was
Mm,
my complaint to her. She said,
right.
I think that for the rest of your life, you're going to have to make a choice
Mm,
on what you eat.
right.
And then it was just like a light bulb moment for me. You are going to have to choose.
Right.
And so, yeah, it just becomes normal and a way of life, and it just becomes your lifestyle.
That's good. I love what you
Yeah.
said about the lifestyle, Francine, because
Mhm.
we all have seen and we've probably been on the fad diets,
Yeah.
especially in January after the holidays and everything. Here come all the advertisements for
Yeah.
this miracle pill and this miracle cream and this fill in the blank, and
Right.
what I hear you saying is those things don't work.
Mhm.
But you have to make a decision. You have a choice that this is going to be a lifestyle change for you. But at the same time, even though that was difficult, you saw and you felt results. When you were fueling your body with healthy foods, you had energy.
Mhm.
And when you maybe had a cheat day or, took the donut or whatever, I don't know what your weakness is. I know what mine is. But, when you had that, then you could feel a difference in your body physically. Like it didn't make you feel good.
Yeah. And the fat diets will work.
Right.
You'll lose the weight. But what people usually struggle with is that they gain the weight back.
Right.
And so my coach would always say to me, Francine, not only are you losing the weight, but you're losing the reasons that you are gaining the weight,
Wow.
right? And so
That's
you
good.
begin to really realize in your life how many unhealthy habits you have. So it's really about changing one habit
Mm-hmm.
one day at a time. So changing the habits of, your eating lifestyle, drinking water, moving, you're just changing that every day, one day at a time. And then
Right.
eventually it just becomes the norm for you and just, evolves into your lifestyle. So it
Right.
makes it easier. And I'm not saying that there won't be other challenges in life, of
Sure.
course, but when you have those challenges, that's when you learn one of our methods is to learn how to stop, challenge yourself, and choose. And so that's what we learn to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So earlier you mentioned, we discussed how you would emotionally eat. Happy, sad, mad, glad, bored, you would eat. So with the new program and the new lifestyle, what would you do if you had maybe an emotional trigger where your go-to would be to go to that comfort food, right?
Right.
With a new system, how would you deal with the emotions that you were still feeling? You're still going to have those emotions, but make another choice. Does that go back to the stop, challenge, choose that you just mentioned? Okay.
Yeah. So you just learn how to stop and refocus
Mm-hmm.
and just stay in the moment and not react.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really just stopping yourself. So sometimes it meant that I just stopped myself and took a drink some water
Mm-hmm.
and just take a moment of really realizing or beginning to think about what are you feeling?
Okay.
What's triggering? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would challenge myself with why? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mm.
And so my why was because I want to live a long and healthy life
Right.
and to prevent illness in
Mm-hmm.
my life and to be strong in my body as I begin to grow older. So those are like some of my whys. Other people have
Right.
different whys where they want to just be healthy and strong and just be able to move around with their children and play
Right.
with their kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So you stop and you challenge yourself and you bring, you keep bringing up your why. You got to have a
Right.
why because the why
Right.
is the only thing that's going to keep you.
Right. That's the motivation
Yeah,
to
that's your
continue
motivation.
and to push through those rough times. Um,
Exactly.
you mentioned that you lost the same 10 pounds over and over again for a while. You said your journey wasn't perfect, and I love that. But you
Right.
continued, you didn't give up, you continued to move forward, and you had the support of the community, you
Hmm.
had your why, you had the motivation, but more importantly, you had God to lean
Yes.
on and to guide you because He created our bodies. He created our
Yeah.
bodies to be healthy, He created food to nourish our bodies. And, you know, our relationship with
Exactly.
God is the foundation for everything we do. So I love that.
Yes.
So now you're 65 pounds lighter.
Mm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I loved watching the transformation and the pictures and all of that. And like I said earlier, your smile hasn't changed. That's the most beautiful part about you. But you look fantastic. You're feeling
Thank you.
great. You said that this is the first time that you have been in control of your health. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
beautiful.
think for the first time, perhaps even for me, it was just knowing that I could be in control of my health
Mhm.
instead of reactive,
Right,
or that I can actually do something about it.
right.
And so that for me was again a light bulb moment. And so now I feel like I'm creating health
Mhm.
by not only believing and trusting in God, but also by doing the things because I feel that I'm in partnership with Him.
Yes.
So by doing the things I need to do to create the health, getting water in, putting
Mhm.
in the proper fueling, and just moving my body.
Right.
And so we work together,
Yes.
and I have a part to play in that. And so
Absolutely.
versus where I was just eating anything,
Mhm.
not moving, and perhaps not even drinking water. So it makes a difference in our lives if we,
Right.
able to know that we can create health. Yeah.
Sure.
And we are given the authority to choose, right?
Absolutely.
Given that authority to choose. And so he helps us to choose life and he helps us to choose what's good and healthy for us so that we
That's so
can
good.
create that health that we so desire. No
Absolutely.
one desires to be ill.
Right.
So we all desire to be healthy, and there is a way we can do that. We absolutely can create the health that we so desire to have.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's so good. I like what you said about choice, because a lot of people want changes, maybe want to lose weight or want to get in shape or want to fill in the blank, right? But it takes action steps. You know, it's
Does.
a choice, but then from that choice, you have to take action. And that's the only way that you're going to move forward. But again, God is with you on the journey,
Yeah,
and He's so good. So
he is.
I also like what you said, Francine, about not reacting. And that again can apply to many things in life, not just food, not just overeating or food
Mhm.
addiction. But you know, so many people just go through life reacting and reacting and reacting and not taking their power back and making those choices. And again, partnering with God to know what to do and then to have the power to do it. And
Yeah.
He empowers us to make those changes. So I just love that. And what would you say is the biggest difference for you? You probably have a lot of things in your life now that have changed as a result of losing 65 pounds and making better food choices for yourself. What would you
Mhm.
say is the biggest change that you're enjoying?
I think the biggest change is that I enjoy life a little bit more
Mm,
now, that I feel better
right.
and I have energy. And so, yeah, I just really enjoy life a little bit more now. And um, it just means everything to me that there was a time where my life just felt out of control.
Wow. Mm,
And I didn't know why, I didn't know what was going on, but
hmm.
this was one of the areas, and
Okay.
it was a big area.
Right.
And so to feel like I have some control of it and that I'm creating a new lifestyle and I'm living that lifestyle. Not only do I have knowledge of it, but I'm
Right.
living it.
Right.
That's big for me.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing it. And I feel like I'm having the opportunity to help others change their lifestyles as well to get healthy. And so I'm able to pay it forward and share this gift that I felt
Yeah.
that God has given me. Yeah.
I love that. Well, speaking of that, Francine, you are a health coach.
Mhm.
And if anybody watching this broadcast tonight would like to connect with Francine, please send me a message on the Voices of Recovery page, and I will get her your contact information.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Francine, do you have anything else to add as we close up tonight's show?
No, I just want to first say thank you, and I love what you're doing. I love the book that God has given
Mm,
you
thank
to
you.
impact the lives of others. I'm enjoying, I got a chance to read part of it, but I'm enjoying looking forward to finishing up the book. And that I'm very thankful. Life is more enjoyable when you feel good and you have energy.
Amen. Amen. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that, Francine, and thank you for your contribution to the book. Thank you for being a guest tonight. So, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this episode of Voices of Recovery. We're creating a safe place where people can go for support and encouragement on their journey with God. And please give our page a like or follow if you are new. And if you feel led, share out this message or host a watch party, because I feel like there's somebody on your page who needs to hear what Francine has to say. So again, thank you, Francine. God
Thank
bless you on your
you.
journey. And thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of Voices of Recovery. You have a blessed night. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.